welcome. Yes, my friends. This is the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast, and I am your host, Rev Recluse, and welcome to the podcast. This is number 24 in the podcast. Do I have a podcast series? Yeah, I guess I get a podcast series. It's number 24 on the podcast series, and I hope everybody's doing fantastic out there. So what are we going to do here today? This particular artist I've wanted to spotlight for quite some time. His name is Dave Boire. And Dave's records were pretty much picked up by me in rapid succession when I first came to Edmonton, right within the first year or so. And I've been dying to do a specific podcast on Dave's stuff since the beginning of the podcast. I'm very happy to do so. I'm going to give you a little bit of his bio. Dave lost his sight when he was 9 years of age in a penknife accident, if you can believe that also. And his recuperation, and his struggles to live a normal life were aided in his interest about playing guitar. And he did. He started playing guitar when he was 9, 10 years old, became a working musician pretty quickly. He picked it up pretty quickly. And the first record that I'm going to spotlight is a record called Alone with My Memories. I don't have a specific year on it. I've seen it somewhere on the internet where it said 1962, which would have placed Dave about 18. So it's not out of the realm of truth that it was in 1962. But it looks to me maybe mid-60s. I'm not really sure. But this is his first record, and the very first record I picked up of Dave's. It's called Alone with My Memories. It's also one of those records that you'll see that I've spotlighted a couple of times on the podcast itself, where it is a record by a specific artist or a specific musician, but also features in the album itself a couple of other musicians too, and I've never quite gotten over that. I'm like I said, I'm pretty sure that some monetary value was, or favors or something like that was included in something like that, but I'm not really sure. This particular record was also has Donna Adams, who is a songwriter and a banjo player in her own right, and spotlights a couple of her songs on top of Dave's records also. So yeah, again, it's another one of those types of albums. Very, very interesting. I never really ran into these types of albums in the States, but I run into them a lot in Canada. So yeah, very interesting. Put out on Rada Records or Rada Records, not really sure. I think it's Rada Records. And the first one I'm going to play for you is the title track of the album. It's called Alone with My Memories, all of Dave Boire's originals, by the way, that I'm going to be playing tonight. So this is a Dave Boire original from the title track, Alone with My Memories. A very straightforward country-esque song from the mid-'60s. You'll recognize the sound pretty quickly. I think it's got a little bit of a Bakersfield type of a sound to it, maybe a little bit louder Buck Owens type of thing, but it's a very nice original song. So this is the title track from Alone with My Memories by Dave Boire here on the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast.
There's 4 walls and a ceiling and a worn old floor. There's even a crack in the window of the door. And these are some of the memories that I still hold dear, just because I live alone with them here. I wonder why these walls look at me the way they do. I guess they're not accustomed to seeing me without you. And this worn old floor still holds to me so dear, just because we danced together here. Won't you show your face in the window of the door, just so I can see your smile, darling, just once more. For these are some of the memories, and they haunt me night and day. After you said goodbye and went away. Yes, these are some of the memories, and they haunt me night and day. After you said goodbye and went away.
Welcome back to the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast. That was Dave Boire from the title track of his 1962-ish LP called Alone With My Memories. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, the next one that I want to spotlight for you is a record that he put out with another group called the Mustangs. It was, again, if you were around in the early 70s, late 60s, you saw the Mustangs pretty much every weekend in nightclubs and cabarets and roadhouses and community halls around central Alberta, Edmonton especially. And an interesting ad, a little bit more, a fuller country sound than the Alone With My Memories LP. It's got a little bit more oomph to it. If I can be technical for a minute, it's got a little bit more of an oomph to it. And Dave is very well complimented by the rest of the guys in the band. And this is a really interesting record. Came out it's another one of these records I don't have a specific year on. I'm thinking 1972. Right around that time, 72, maybe 73, but I think it's around 72. And the very first song that I'm going to play for you off of this is a song called If I Had a Penny, which again is a Dave Boire original. You'll get that little bit more of a fuller country sound on this record than the earlier one on Raider Records. This is also a Raider Records album, by the way. And you'll also get this a little bit more fuller song than the Alone With My Memories LP. So without further ado, and I haven't said that yet, without further ado, here is the Mustangs featuring Dave Boire with a Dave Boire original, a song called If I Had a Penny on the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast.
Roadside bar, $1 to my name. The waiter just brought me some beer. I'm sitting here jingling the change. And if I only had a penny for every time I thought of you, girl, I guess you'd know I'd be the richest man in this world. On an old semi-rig, I'm headed to LA this time. Maybe the warmth of her sun can help me get you off of my mind. If I only had a penny for every time I thought of you, girl, I guess you'd know I'd be the richest man in this world. I'm just a poor man with the rich man's thought. The weather here is just fine. I'm 1,000 miles away from home, but you're still on my mind. I'm just a poor man with the rich man's thought. The weather here is just fine. I'm 1,000 miles away from home, but you're still on my mind. You're still on my mind. You're still on my mind.
Welcome back to the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast. That was the Mustangs with a song called If I Had a Penny that was off of the I'm assuming the Lone Mustangs LP called The Best of the Mustangs in 1973-ish. That was a Dave Boire original. And right after that, or very closely after that anyway, Dave decided that he was going to go solo, signed with Boot Records here in Edmonton, and produced in short order a single called Country Girl, also with a new last name. His last name is Boire, but it was spelled, or his original spelling of it was Boire. And a decision was made to change it to Boyer. Same pronunciation, but just a different way of spelling his last name. First time I think it's ever appeared was on this 45. And the song called Country Girl that was released in 1974 became a pretty good hit for its time on country radio up here in Canada, reached number 32. And in short order, an album was commissioned, if you will. And here is the title track from 1974. A song called Country Girl by Dave Boire on the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast.
Country girl, country girl.
I was driving on a muddy road, going north with a heavy load. Saw a hiker on the side, stopped my truck to give her a ride. She climbed inside. Then she told me her name and how she walked here in the rain. And with the heart that was broke, she's going home to see her folks and to bear her shame. Country girl, yes she was, like wildflowers in the lane. She needs the country like the country needs the rain. I'm not too strong, and if I cry, well, I cry alone. These few pennies in my jeans are my one and only means of getting back home. City lights and neon signs, broken heart and shattered mind. Country girl, yes she was, pretty girl, she fell in love with the roving kind. Country girl, yes she was, like wildflowers in the lane. She needs the country like the country needs the rain. Country girl, yes she was, like wildflowers in the lane. She needs the country like the country needs the rain.
Country girl.
Welcome back to the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast. That was Dave Boire with his 1974 country hit in Canada, a song called Country Girl. And the next couple of records I'm going to play for you, the next couple of tracks are going to be off of his 1976 LP with the title track called Country Girl. The first one I love is a song called Little Sally Saucer. Dave legitimately rocks, I think, in this, going back to his early days of Alone With My Memories, where he kind of got a little bit rocky also. This is a great song, Little Sally Saucer. Without further ado, I can see this being a big crowd pleaser in Dave's act. So without further ado, this is Little Sally Saucer by Dave Boire on the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast.
Over in the schoolyard, they hear the children playing a game we used to play all through the day. Sally was a game, Sally was her name. Oh yeah, little Sally Saucer sitting in the water. Rise, Sally, rise, dry out your eyes. Turn to the east, turn to the west, turn on the one that'll love you the best. Sally, you're a fine girl, I wish you were mine, girl. Sally, you're a looker, so they all took her. She's just a little play toy for every little playboy. Oh, little Sally Saucer sitting in the water. Rise, Sally, rise, dry out your eyes. Turn to the east, a turn on the west, a turn on the wall, it'll love you the best. Sally, you're a fine girl, I'm gonna make you mine, girl. Dry up all your tears, throw away your fears now. Oh, little Sally Saucer sitting in the water. Rise, Sally, rise, dry out your eyes. Turn to the east, turn to the west, turn on the wall, it'll love you the best. Little Sally Saucer sitting in the water. Rise, Sally, rise, dry out your eyes. Turn to the east, turn to the west, turn on the wall, it'll love you the best. Turn to the east, turn to the west, turn to the wall, it'll love you the best.
Welcome back to the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast. That was Dave Boire from his Country Girl LP in 1976, a song called Little Sally Saucer. Gotta be my favorite Dave Boire track, by the way. Love that song. This album, as well as the Mustangs album, were both recorded at Damon Recording Studios in Edmonton. You'll get a nice, good picture of the back covers of all of 3 albums, so you can read the liner notes and the people involved. Again, if you know anything about the Edmonton music scene in the 70s and the early 80s, the people who are on this will not surprise you. It's another variable all-star Edmonton musicians of the time. So go check that out. This is very much of its time, very much Edmonton. Now, the last one I'm going to play for you today is a song called My Wife, and it's pretty self-explanatory. This is a love song. Dave gets a little bit quieter for the ladies, I think, here. And this is a song called My Wife by Dave Boire from the Country Girl LP on the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast.
I suppose I ought to call you my sunshine, 'cause you brought a lot of light into my life. I suppose I ought to call you the morning, but I'll just stay and call you my wife. Yes, you're my woman, you're all I'll ever need. Yes, you're my loving from A to Z. I'm so glad we got a family together. Why? Girls and boys into our life. If someone should ask how come we look so happy, well, I'll just say our family. I suppose I ought to call you my sunshine, 'cause you brought a load of light into my life. And when we reach the end of road together, well, I'll just say I'm glad you were my wife. Well, I'll just say I'm glad you were my wife.
Welcome back to the Vintage Edmonton Music Podcast. That was Dave Boire from its 1976 LP called Country Girl. That was a song called My Wife. Now, I'm going to give you the rest of the story, or actually I'm going to point you in the direction of the rest of the story. This article that I'm about to quote a little bit of, I found during my research for Dave's life and his work, and it blew me away. This is a third act that I wasn't expecting. This is a very, very, very welcome expectation. Dave, this article says from April 8th, 1978, regained his sight due to an operation here in Edmonton. That's all I'm going to say, because I want you to go read the article itself. But yes, there is a happy ending. So yeah, that was really, really cool. And I'm very, very happy for Dave to regain his sight, and hope he lived happily ever after. It says that he was living in High Prairie, Alberta at the time of this article in 1978. So yeah, again, Dave, fantastic news. And I hope you lived a great life. And if you're still out there, if you have family out there who's listening to the podcast, get a hold of me. Rev at vintageedmonton.com. So please, yeah, get a hold of me about that. So yeah, this is it, folks. That's the end of the show. I hope you enjoyed that. And as always, I would be remiss. Yes, I am on iTunes. Yes, I am on what else am I on? Oh yeah, I'm on TuneIn. You can subscribe to me on TuneIn. You can subscribe to me on Google Play Music. You can subscribe to me on Podomatic as well. I got an email during the week, and I've gotten these kinds of emails pretty much for the last 6-7 months, and they're asking me, are you ever going to do interviews with the people that you spotlight? Maybe. Maybe. I may do that in the near future. I've got a couple of irons on the fire, as the kids say. So that may happen within the future. So I will let all of you fine people know when that is going to happen, if that is going to happen in the future. And without further ado, I didn't say that enough this podcast. Without further ado, I got to go out and I got to go cut my grass. So without further ado, I hope everybody's doing fantastic out there, and I'll see you next time.